conversation with the all-time greats, being that they all had dancing partners. They all had all those top fighters that was fighting each other that would allow them to be great. I done beat some good fighters in my days, but at the same time, it wasn't no pound for pound against pound for pound. It wasn't no Hagler versus Hearn or no. Those fights are the fights that elevate you to being one of the greatest that there is. And I didn't have those big name games to share the ring with.
Welcome to BodyWork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWork Boxing. Man, I hate that I have to do this, man, because I'm starting to realize, man, that Team Bud, man, like I think that a lot of the times I could imagine that y'all catch a lot of frustration because it's people out here that make Spence fans look like they're Bud haters. When in all actuality, most Bud fans are just Spence haters. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate prefacing things before I say them over and over again. Yeah, I don't mind giving people context. But I hate the fact that I always have to say, man, I'm a Bud fan too. I'm just not an only fan. I hate having to preface everything I say because it's almost like a butt, because everything after that goes in one ear and out the other. However, I'm finding myself at a time questioning, man, do people really like legacy, or is it just when it comes to the fighters that they like, the ones that they choose? You know, because it's the lines are getting blurred so much, man. And I say, man, the Terrence Bud Crawford era, what is that era going to look like? You know, and right now, to be honest, he put on a devastating, immaculate performance, but this era is in shambles right now. You know, you got young boots waiting in the wings. You got the whole 47 division in a standstill. And I said it a long time ago that this was going to happen. Nevertheless, my question is, why do Errol Spence fans look like mascots who take their hats off right now? You know, it's like you got the ManDown mascot on, but you really got a costume on. And it's like a lot of, like I said, man, at the Bud one, a lot of Bud fans, like when Seattle caught fire in the NFL, you know, I mean, I'm talking way after Sean Alexander, when they got Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson and they had that defense, you know what I'm saying? And then they had the power of 12 in that crowd, like, and everybody, it was all these Seattle Seahawks fans just coming out of the woodwork. That's how all these Buds fans seem like. Well, let me qualify, the only fans seem like right now. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that followed, admired, and respected Bud and his talent and what he was able to do and how he was able to get it. And for the most part, the same thing that I always preface it with. I start inside the ring. So inside the ring, nobody ever questioned how bad of a man that Bud was. Yes, he got rocked before. Yes, he took his, you know what I'm saying? Everybody done pretty much done got hit and got rocked. You know what I'm saying? Some people done got dropped. That's a part of history. It's on film. You can go back and watch it. So if nobody knew anything and they popped on that film, you would actually see Gamboa doing what he did. You would see Benavidez doing what he did. You would see Kavaliauskas doing what he did on film. They don't take away from who Bud is and what he was able to accomplish. And factually, like the re-signing with Bob, all these things, you know what I'm saying, that happened. It's like people think that the victory of Bud takes away the history of Bud. They're two different things. And I came out and said this, you know, and I think that it's probably infuriating to the whole Bud camp, Bud, Bomac, all them, you know what I'm saying, in the camp, because it seemed like somebody's always coming by and taking a on you when they're really not, and they're just pointing out facts. But I'm like, man, like, stand up, man, right? Represent. If you are a Spence fan, pull up. Go in the comment section. Let me know you a Spence fan, because right now, this whole legacy stuff, I mean, I always have to remind people. When Bud first came up to 47, Earl already had a belt. He had the IBF. He was that guy that everybody was running from and ducking and dodging and maneuvering around and retiring. Like Tim Bradley. Like, you know, he was the one. Keith Thurman was dragging his feet. Nobody wanted to give him a shot. Kell Brook did. Forcefully. After the Triple G. But when he came up, when Bud came up, Earl already had a belt. A reminder, from the time that Bud got that belt off of Jeff Horn until the time when Errol Spence fought Ugas, Bud was always back and forth as to one clipping he'll say, yeah, he won it. The next clipping he'll say, oh, that fight's behind me, all this stuff. He left Spence at the altar. And all we have is crying now. Like, basically, oh, man, Errol Spence should have came forward. He should have just, you know, like, yeah, maybe it's instant karma. Maybe it's instant karma, but I'm gonna give you an example of how people play this legacy. That's what I'm about to start saying, man. Miss me with that legacy stuff. And I'm so glad Tank, he's carving out his own lane, but I just hope and pray that this man just be like, miss me with that legacy. Stick with that, because it don't matter how much you give, how much you do, how much you dedicate yourself to getting that goal. The fans are gonna pick and choose when they want to give credit for legacy fights and legacy behavior. Bud has not always showed legacy behavior, and that's a fact. That's a fact. He left Earl at the altar. That's a fact. Yes, Earl had his off, out of the ring issues and all that, but that's a fact. But let me paint a picture for you, right? When Lomachenko got elevated, right, in the WBC, when he got elevated and got that franchise, it was just like Canelo when he got elevated and got that franchise. Except for when Canelo got elevated and got that franchise, you had a small portion of people saying, oh man, he's ducking Maul. Oh man, he's ducking Andrade. You know, you had a small fraction, but most people saying, man, that's Canelo. He could do whatever he want, man. He blah, blah, blah. So at the time, when Lomachenko got elevated to the franchise champion of the WBC, and the commissioner gave Devin Haney a strap, the narrative was, oh man, Loma ducked him, this and that, man. He gotta fight Devin. He gotta, you know, that was the narrative for the longest time. Only the fact that Lomachenko was going to go unify with Teofimo Lopez, who went and knocked out Comey for a belt. And that was the last piece to the puzzle that Loma needed. But that whole time, all the way up until back when, here last year in 2023, when Devin Haney defended his undisputed up against Lomachenko, of which 2.5 years prior, he said that he was too old and too small. Fast forward 2.5, almost 3 years later, he finally fight Lomachenko. And the theory up until that very point was that Lomachenko had to fight Devin Haney. Or he ducked him, he this and this and that. It's not the same thing right now with Bud and Boots. It's not the same thing right now. You know, even beforehand, even when Bud didn't know whether or not he was going to fight, he was saying it was behind me. He went on Akin Barak and said, no, he don't know if he would take the fight and all this and this and that. When Spence first got injured, he said, oh man, pull up your panties and all this stuff and stuff when he thought he was hurt and he wasn't coming back. Then when he was getting ready to come back, he said, oh man, you better not fight me. You better fight one of these other guys. And that's why Spence came back and he fought Danny Garcia first. But people like to erase history because of Bud's victory. And when you have to explain these things, it almost makes it seem like you're throwing darts at Bud, but it's like, no, you're just laying out a timeline of the things that actually happened. But it's not the same energy. Y'all never keep the same energy. These Bud only fans never keep the same energy. So I want all the Spence fans to pull up. Pull up. Let me know, man. Don't be hiding behind no mascot. Don't be trying to, because a lot of people done ran for the boost train. A lot of people done jumped over the Bud. I want everybody to take off, go like this. Let's you know, you got the Beijing, go like this. I want to see the real Spence fans right now. Because Spence was the one that said, you know what? As much as I Need to, probably, and much as I'm struggling with this weight, I don't do tune-ups. He said, no, I don't want to fight nobody else. I'm not going nobody else. The suits don't want this fight, but I'm not moving. I'm not budging. I got my eyes on Undisputed. At the same time, simultaneously, Bud was saying, that fight might be past. My legacy is fine. Well, if that fight don't happen, then will my legacy hurt? No, but will the rest of the welterweights? Maybe. He didn't care. In hindsight, we saw that he was a shrewd businessman. Yeah. Got Warren Buffett on speed dial. Yeah. Big Green Bay Packer fan. Got Nebraska on smash. We saw that in the parade. All that's hindsight and after, like all these things that you look at when you look at what Bud was doing. But a lot of the time, the behavior didn't make sense. And we got the cross-promotional thing that everybody was saying. It was a lot of those things. But before Errol and Bud was really an item, everybody and their mama was pressuring Errol to fight Boots. Now it's acceptable that Bud ain't gotta fight Boots. That's not something that he needs to do, right? We gotta make it make sense, man. But I think that yeah, Spence did something that we didn't. No, I didn't see it coming. He didn't make excuses to begin with. Derrick James ain't never really make no excuses, and he came out and said, yeah, whatever, I had the surgery, whatever. That don't got nothing to do with the fans. But you got whole Trigger fans talking about nobody gives Bud their credit. Everybody gives Bud their credit. It's like, what you want everybody to do? Bow down and praise and worship? I don't get it. But I had somebody jump in the video I did yesterday. One of these guys that jumped in the comment section, man, and he basically he left a long comment. Like, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna read what he said. He said, so whose fan said that the other fighter was a liar and he was ducking to fight a bum? Whose fan said that the other guy ain't fought nobody? Whose fans called the other guy top rank? And when he left top rank, these same fans started quoting Bob Arum's truth when they hated his butt while the other guy was with him. Whose fans said that the other guy was chinny and bragging about a guy who wobbled the guy and commenced to get knocked out in the same round? Whose fans said that they're going to collect eyes and ribs? Funny thing is, these were two of the excuses they gave for their guy losing. Whose fans called the other guy a bad businessman because he wouldn't take a no guarantee and no transparency and 65-35 split on the back end and paying from the gross, not the net, when all the other guys he fought not a guarantee and most got a 50-50 split on the back end, even though the guy they were saying didn't deserve was a champion? Who was making more money than the other, had more accolades than the other, and was always ranked higher by the people who count? Whose fans said the other guy wasn't dealing with good faith? Whose fans had a fit because their guys who they fought was the A side but never was, as Las Vegas? Lost a coin flip to the other guy who got what he wanted but not a good businessman. Let's get to your guy now. Who said that they were going to beat the other like Kunta and going to break him like a horse? Who said the other guy got hurt by Gamboa and Mean Machine even though Bud got knocked out? Even though both got knocked out? Who said the other guy was light in the... Who said that the other guy's chin was 3.5 out of 10 and resume was a 0.5? Who about a coin flip? Who said that if they keep it up, I might give them 60-40, 70-30, I might even give him 80-20 and can go fight Canelo Alvarez? Who said the other guy had the great matchmakers in the business? Who said that if I had an excuse, I wouldn't give it to you, but then commenced to giving an excuse that his eyesight was off and that's why he got hit with all the jabs and hooks? He also gave the excuse that his timing was off after the fight. I mean, dude, who was the arrogant fan base and fighter between the two? And you about the other fan base dancing like Chris Brown, all that other, the lie and his delusional fan base, the worst in boxing. Yeah, I said it. Even worse than the Canelo fans, because they only won't give the winner his props, but they making excuses why their guy lost. This is a lot, and I know I'm missing some but tell what part of what I said wasn't true. I'm first to comment, so you got time to read all this BS your fan base and boxer shit. That's how it goes down. You know what I'm saying? Like, triggered. Can you say triggered? Like, you see how they mix a little bit of truth in with a little bit of lie? You know what I'm saying? And that's just how you really, the Bud Only fans, that's how you break down a Bud Only fan. You really gotta like take it sec by sec by sec. They sprinkle in a little bit of truth with a little bit of belief and opinion and things that you can't really prove. Way too much to address or discuss. All I know, like I said, was Errol had a belt when Bud moved up. It wasn't until he fought Ugas that Bud really showed a concerted effort to want to try to fight Errol. Errol had told him before that if you want to jump the line, 60-40, let's do it. Bud said no, 50-50. Now he was prophetic when he said when I beat him, they're gonna say he too weak. And he said bet $1 million. Like, he was prophetic when he said I was going to have a fish fry. Bud was ultra prophetic. But still, my friends, the victory don't erase history. We salute Bud. We say do your thing, but we saying, man, have that same energy. Let's keep that same energy. Is it about legacy or not? If it's about legacy, Boots got a belt. He in your division. You dropped your belt for him. You can't fight the big fish right now. Canelo say he don't want you. He say he busy. I mean, what's wrong with Boots? Then don't make me start going back and putting up videos when everybody was jumping on saying that Spence had to fight him. And that's not to mention, Spence had 3 belts. Bud had 1. His first fight at welterweight. So all the way up until the fight in July, 1 belt the first fight up, all the way up until July the 30th when that whole incident happened. You know what I'm saying? That travesty happened for Spence fans. Strap season. Us. When that travesty happened. That's all he did. In the grand scheme of things, yes, he fought his mandatory. Yes, he fought some names. Yes, he fought some people that had some legacy and ultimately some Hall of Famers. Yes, he did. But we can't mix the victory with the history and start rewriting history. And I think a lot of us, man, we're gonna make this thing toxic, man. That's why I said this is one of the toxic. This is the second most toxic fan base in boxing right now. And you make it seem like people always want to just on Bud when people really don't want to on Bud. We salute the dude, but it's like, geez, act like y'all won something for a change. Act like, give Spence the respect, because this is the other thing. I don't understand. Like, everybody wants you to bow down and worship him, and Errol wasn't this and Errol wasn't that, but at the same time, y'all want to highly exalt Bud Crawford as the best thing ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Like, it don't make sense. Like, we can't respect Bud as the best, but then not give Errol Spence, because that's the one he beat. And I gave him my fighter of the year of 2023. Because of what he was able to do, because he stayed prepared, because he was a shrewd businessman, because contrary to popular belief and what was right, you know what I'm saying, actually, like, since Spence had the fan base, since Spence was the bigger pay-per-view attraction, since he had the stadium, since he had 3 straps at the point in time in the division. Bud had got undisputed before, but inside division, Bud had 1, Errol had 3. We just want to disrespect. So now I'm saying, man, miss me with that legacy stuff, man. Miss me with that legacy stuff, man. I want to start seeing some Errol Spence fans, man, because right now, all I see is a lot of mascots with ManDown on it, man. It's strap season or nothing, man. And just because it's 1 loss, that don't mean it's the end of the road. That don't mean nothing. The man had a rematch clause. He gonna exercise a rematch clause. He got a surgery. And since you left him at the altar, since Bud and all his fans co-signed and said, oh yeah, go get that bag from amnesia, and he left him at the altar, Errol had eye surgery and the fight got pushed back. It's instant karma if you ask me. But let's stop it with the internet thugging. You know what I'm saying? And stop omitting facts and stop all this other stuff, like all this politicking or whatever. The fact of the matter is, the whole division, I was saying this is hurting the whole division. This is hurting Stanionis. This is hurting Boots. This is hurting the whole, like, Virgil, he finally got out of division at 54, but this is hurting 47. The whole division. This is not just about 1 or 2 fighters. That's what I was saying the whole time. Like, we're toxic. That's why I don't sell, because a lot of the fans, all these fans that came out of the woodworks, I don't know where they came from, because the only fans, the Bud only fans, they don't even buy pay-per-views. They don't. The proof is in the numbers. But pull up. Let me know, man. Put in the if I don't see that many Spence fans, I know there's a lot of people out here selling wolf tickets and they flip-flops. Just like all these Devin Haney fans and all, like that flipped over the Tang and Tang, all flip-flops. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it, man. Like, you can like more. This is not a boxing monogamous channel, but if you're going to keep it 100 and you're going to keep it a buck, we got to start calling it straight down the middle. And it can't be all about legacy when your fighter's all about his perception of legacy, how he perceived it to be, but not when the other one was actually doing it. We got to stop it, man. It don't erase what Errol was able to do. And Errol came out and said, hey, he beat me. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing. And he also gave y'all what he wanted, which was an excuse. Okay. How long are you going to relish in that? The sport of boxing is still going on. And since that fight's not going on, I think we need to be responsible and focus on the fights at hand. How about that? How about Boots? Oh, Boots went back to being Sasquatch. Anyways, man, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for tuning in here with Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work. Welcome to Bodywork.